Welcome to SUAANGAN. I'm your host, Janine Blake. On today's program, we'll bring you an interview with Bob Simpson. Our feature elder for this week is our own Leonard Harry. We'll bring you to the weekly Elders Fitness Club, and we also have an interview with Duane Smith, chair of the Inuvialuit Game Council. On SUAANGAN, we'll be bringing you weekly updates and news items on self-government. And we'll begin this program with an interview with Bob Simpson, chief negotiator for the Beaufort Delta Self-Government Office. Today with us in studio we have Bob Simpson, chief negotiator for the Beaufort Delta Self-Government Office. Welcome to the studio, Bob. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, can you give us a little history? Why are we negotiating self-government in the Beaufort Delta?
Well, it goes as far back as 1984 when the Inuvialuit settled their land claim agreement. And in their land claim agreement, they had one provision in there that if there was any restructuring of public government in the Northwest Territories, the Inuvialuit would have the same opportunity in restructuring public government within their settlement region. And the Gwich'in also, when they were negotiating their land claim agreement, concentrated on self-government and set up a process within their land claim agreement to negotiate a wide range of subject matters. Back in 1993, the Inuvialuit and Gwich'in leadership happened to get together during, I think it was an IRC board meeting, and they thought about perhaps we should be negotiating a self-government agreement together because we have two communities in which we have both Inuvialuit and Gwich'in living together. So the leadership instructed a working group to get together, and the working group developed a discussion paper or proposal. And the proposal was considered by both the Inuvialuit and the Gwich'in board of directors and approved. And they brought it forward to a leadership conference, which included as well as the IRC and the Gwich'in leadership. The municipal mayors were at the leadership conference. So they all considered in October '93 the proposal and approved it, and that was sent off to the federal and territorial government to see whether there was a basis for negotiations. Both the federal and territorial government soon approved that as a good starting point for the negotiations. We received some significant delays at that time, mainly because of the federal government was preparing a national-wide policy called the Inherent Right Policy. And this arose from the Liberal campaign promises to do something with Aboriginal self-government at the time. It took them about a year or two to prepare that national policy. But once it was approved, we started our negotiations by seeking appointments for the chief negotiators. The federal and territorial government appointed theirs, and I think in late 95, and I received my appointment from both the IRC and the Gwich'in board of directors, as well as all the municipal governments. And we started serious negotiations after that, and one of the first things that we concentrated on was to see if we can organize our negotiations, and we negotiated a process and schedule agreement, we call it, and that was signed off by all the parties. So since September of '96, when we finished that process and schedule agreement, we've been in substantive negotiations.
What is self-government?
Oh, that's a big question. I like to always sort of break it down into, three major things that we're trying to take care of in the negotiations. One is recognition, the other is powers, and then resources. With recognition, we're seeking recognition by both of the governments for the Inuvialuit and Gwich'in's right to self-government, their inherent right. Inherent, we mean that they've always had it, they've always exercised the right to determine, make decisions that are best for their people. And we're looking for that recognition perhaps in the Constitution of Canada. With powers, we're certainly looking at, in a practical manner, what powers should be exercised at a local level, what we can do together on a regional level, and some of the powers that would be necessarily just exclusively exercised by the Navajo and Gwich'in governments as well. Within the powers, we also have to sort out what powers should be at a local level or regional level or with the Aboriginal groups, and what best rests with the territorial and federal government. So we're also defining some new relationships between governments as well. And of course, the most important aspect of self-government negotiations, and probably the most difficult part of the negotiations that we're going to be facing, is resources. We feel that there's a need, of course, to have adequate resources to be able to deliver programs and services, or even to exercise powers. We're also looking at certainly the existing dollars that are out there that are currently being provided by the territorial or federal government. But we're also looking for perhaps new revenues, so that in the long term, the governments that are set up in the Beaufort Delta can become much more independent, have a lot more discretion or ability to use their funding and concentrate on what their priorities are as well. So that flexibility is certainly needed in order to fully implement the self-government agreement. And I think that's the basis of it. We're not spending a lot of time trying to set in concrete, set down forever in a day what self-government is, or defining the inherent right. We feel that it's probably a lot more useful to the Navajo and Gwich'in to have it evolve over time. Let them determine what type of powers that they need, and we're setting some flexibility in the agreement so that you know, government changes according to the changing circumstances of its people. So we need to have that flexibility for a longer period of time.
Duane Smith is the chair of the Inuvialuit Game Council. We talked with him this week when he joined us here in our studio.
What types of projects do you do as a game council?
We do a variety of projects that may be initiated within the communities, such as the Aklavik Char program, the Hornady River one, Kugjuak one in Holman. Those all pertain to char monitoring and tagging programs. Some are initiated by the government agencies like DFO, Fisheries and Oceans. The regional biologist conducts a seal program in the Holman area. We collect samples from the beluga harvesting that takes place in various communities to monitor the long-term health of those animals and the age of the animals that are being harvested.
What do you do with the data that's collected?
That's all put into a computer system, and over a long period of time you can monitor any changes that may be taking place.
Could you explain the mandate of the Game Council?
The mandate of the Game Council is one of the mandates is to ensure the long-term viability of the resources for our beneficiaries.
And that includes which areas?
That includes all of the ISR. We have various harvesting rights within the ISR and outside the ISR, and that's one of the roles of the Game Council is to ensure that those rights aren't diminished in any way.
What levels do you go at as a Game Council? What levels do you talk with?
They can they're initiated right at the local level. If it's beyond the local level, then we'll deal with the regional bodies, such as the superintendents that look after the the region, the Inuvik region, if it's beyond that, like overlapping issues, then we'll deal with Yellowknife, which is a territorial issue. And for other issues that may go beyond that, then we go national or international to express our concerns to minimize those impacts on us.
For I guess maybe the young hunters that are starting out and they don't know a lot about our traditional ways, what kind of information would you like to give out on behalf of the Game Council to them?
I would like to inform them more of what the final agreement says and does for them. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what the final agreement means to them in regards to their rights, what it does for them. I would prefer to see a better system put in place within the educational program, which is supposed to be initiated this fall, basically educating the beneficiaries throughout each grade on the final agreement as you get to the graduation levels.
And what kind of involvement does the Game Council play at that level?
We were involved with the educational curriculum, the Inuvialuit educational curriculum that was drafted up. Myself, Billy Day, Larry Gordon, and Jim McDougall were a group that was put together to draft up various items we'd like to see in the curriculum, starting from grade 1 to grade 12. And basically from grade 1 you would learn the basics of what an animal is, work your way through the animal as you go through the grades, the uses of the animal, and then as you got into senior high school it would evolve into the land claim and the various rights you have to harvesting those animals.
Kind of a last word would you say to young hunters who are just starting out?
For most of the younger people, they can't really get out themselves. If they can, I would recommend that they go with an experienced person to learn the proper uses of the animal, the proper techniques to harvesting, and to get a better understanding of the land as well, because that's what you're going to rely on as you get older.
On each of our shows, we would like to bring you a segment from one of our elders in recognition of the International Year of the Older Person. This week, we have Leonard Harry, who is the host narrator here at the Inuvialuit Communication Society.
I was born in a Klavik hospital, but raised on the land. I got my education on land, like hunting and surviving and trapping and all that. Hunting caribou was hardest one to go about because it was hard, chasing caribou. You got to run and catch caribou like your grandfather tells you, long ago. And I learned to trap from my dad, going with my dad as a young boy, and as well as hunting muskrat. But I never go out on the ocean too much, because only time I go out in the ocean is when we go whaling. They learn us how to hunt whales, and after all hunting, and then they learn us how to survive, like training dogs. We had long ago we had dog team. We had to train our own dogs before we could actually have our own dogs. Long ago, like if you have to have your own dogs, you have to learn how to set fish net, learn how to catch fish, learn how to make hooks, or before you own your own dogs, then they'll give you a dog team. Like long ago when we were growing up. Then I went to school here in Inuvialuit when I was 16 years old. I was grade 6 when I got tape test before I started school, because I used to read comics and all that in the bush. I learned to read, and I learned to read about comics when I was out in the bush, because we read lots of comics. That's the only entertainment we had. So I went to school here when I got tape test. I was in grade 6. So, and then I went to carpenter course for a couple of years, and then I keep working, and I worked for oil companies, and then I worked a few years as a fisheries officer. I trained for 3 years and then become fisheries officer. And then I went off for a few years, and I went back. I went to ICS training as a producer, for 1 year, and then they put me on as a horse narrator here. So until today, I introduce a program, and I translate some of what elders, when the elders tell stories in Inuvialuit, I translate that, and then I enter it to a program today. Well, I was interested in television, because I never worked in television before, like camera and editing and all that. I never worked. I got interested in television. But what I do here now today is I transcribe a story, and I translate to the workers, like when they ask me what kind of language or what they want to know, I try to tell them what I know. Inuvialuit no kalalang yakto ba init tamani kolekto niglo ingilani hanik nalakto rakto ni nakurok init kolekto kuming wani kokolak padiguru koya na yakto ko wani kolekto wani ICS me.
As everyone knows, 1999 is the International Year of the Older Person. Last week, Leonard, John Day, and I went to the Elders Fitness Club at the Aurora College.
It was fun. The elders really exercised there. I really enjoyed it. Like I tried those whatever they call those lifting. I couldn't do it because I do a few lifts, but I got tired right away. But it was fun with those elders doing lifting and doing those exercises they never did before, I guess. It was pretty good. Inuvialuit no kalalang yaktung over. Inutamani koleakto niglo ingilani hanik nalakto akto ni nakurok. Inuit koleakto kuming uwani kokolak padiguru koya nakayakto kubani koleakto ubani ICS me.
There are a lot of different ways to dance. Some are good entertainers. Some don't dance too well. Some are lively, and some are not so lively.
When the people of Holmen perform, they dance, sing, and play the drum at the same time. Drumming is the basic element of Inuvialuit dancing. It is done with skill and enthusiasm. The dancers' songs tell about the culture and life of the people around Holmen.
There are many different ways to dance. We dance from our own songs. Our songs are mostly about our culture. It is the same in the West. We sing about hunting or the way we used to live, or about the animals around us. We don't sing the same song all the time. New songs are always being made.
Utokang ningli atawin nami atudimain nami ingilad numak tunay akita hotel di YouTube in nami kamani nuat katibunu pagkuado ko loktong apko kimi ma ataw tido itu weri olen nut bihutai ma tawalat kay peto imatay nakaktud ang mutinigloni hunani out down ni tay matay nakapawin naman ni tay may tuktum na miglon ni tuktutan na tay niya kapit anguyan nuati kalun melu ting melu ni eni nila kawibo.
The Holman dance style is very lively, with lots of action and movement.
There are 3 motions. First you dance slowly, then a bit faster, and then with the motions without the drum.
If you would like to contact us for your comments on the show, you can mail us at SUAANGAN, care of the Inuvialuit Communications Society, Post Office Box 1704, Inuvik, Northwest Territories. Our postal code is XOEOTO. You can call us at area code 867-777-2320. You can send a fax to area code 867-777-2744. And finally, my email address is janineblake@canada.com. Thank you for watching SUAANGAN this week. I'm your host, Janine Blake, and I'll see you next week. Ilanilu.
Piki chok to no le ayo mi